not only on the religious level, but also on the economic level. Because the mark of the beast is also implicated with economic measures, buying and selling, right? So that has to come to fruition as well.
Yeah.
Now, let's look at what's happening on that front.
Okay.
All around the world, you've been warning about this since, 2010, 2011? And here we are.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Glenn. And the first article I did, I went back and looked, 2010 in the New American Magazine, I warned about a similar proposal in the United States. They wanted to bring in a national biometric ID that would be required to work. And here's the kicker. It was actually paired with amnesty for illegal immigrants. So this new scheme that they're working on in the United Kingdom, they're marketing it as a method of reining in illegal immigration, but it really has nothing to do with illegal immigration. It's an effort to force everybody into this system. And they say, first it'll be to work, next it'll be to shop, it'll be for your health care, it'll be for your government benefits. And it's coming at us like a freight train. A few years after they first proposed it in 2010, Obama started pushing an idea that we needed a digital ID to go on the internet so that we couldn't be anonymous anymore online. We need to be clear. This is a tool for totalitarianism. And then you listen to Klaus Schwab's recent comments on the Fourth Industrial Revolution just a few years ago, where he said, ultimately, we want a fusion of our biological and our digital identities. This stuff is crazy. And if Americans and if people around the world don't stand up, we're going to lose our freedom, Glenn.
The digital ID now is being pushed in England, and it does encompass everything. Switzerland has just done it. I believe Australia has done it. And it started earlier in India, if I'm not mistaken. They were the first to go really deep into this, and it was a disaster. Can you tell me what happened when they launched that?
Yeah, that was fascinating. I was covering that as well, Glenn. And they insisted that every last person in India have one of these things. It had all their biometric data, and they basically made it impossible to live without it. I was just in India a few months ago on a mission trip, and I was told that every single person in the entire country must have a smartphone to be able to interact with society. They used it for vaccine passports. Now they use it for banking. They use it to get any kind of relationship with government or even companies. I went into a store and tried to buy a dress for my wife. I couldn't even buy that without a digital app, something on a smartphone, which of course I didn't have because I don't have a smartphone. So this became ubiquitous. And what happened in India, the total incompetence rolling it out, they had people who were not able to access food and other essentials of life. It ended up becoming a giant dumpster fire. Of course, Bill Gates was haunting this in the shadows. And I talked about this on your show last year, Glenn. The digital ID is one component of the digital public infrastructure that Bill Gates and the United Nations have already publicly announced they're working on. It will be melded with the central bank digital currency and all of the other digital architecture they're building to create essentially a digital gulag for humanity.
Now, Martin, I listened to the speech of the UK Prime Minister, Starmer, and he straight out said, you either have it or you will never work. Yeah. You will never be able to take part in society. And it's a done deal. It's going to happen. Take it or leave it. Now, it's fascinating. Whether it would be a lefty or a righty that brings it in, it doesn't matter. Yeah. It's there to stay, right?
Now, I want you to please, let's just make for viewers or listeners that has not heard this before. This is not the mark of the beast.
Of course it's not the mark of the beast. It is the power that they will use to enforce the mark of the beast. And the mark of the beast can only be defined by the beast itself. And the beast is Roman Catholicism, because that is what the scriptures state. They give the parameters. We can look at it in a moment. And it is clearly identified as the papal system. And the papal system says that the mark of the ecclesiastical power is that they have shifted the solemnity of the Sabbath to the Sunday, because the mark of authority, the sign, the seal that the God is in control has been shifted to them, that they are in control. So it is a symbol of whose authority is binding.
That's why they've got the keys.
That's why they have the key. And whatever they loose and whatever they bind it's like the law of the Medes and the Persians. You cannot change it. Now, the power that God gave the church when Jesus gave the keys to the church, not to the papacy, gave it to the church on the recognition that he is the Son of God and no one else and no earthly prelate. That power, whoever wields that power, is the one that you have to watch out for if he misuses that power. That power was an ecclesiastical power to determine who is in right standing with the church or not. Had nothing to do with politics whatsoever. So, Martin, many years ago, I gave a series of lectures, and there was a whistleblower from the World Bank that came out, and her name was Karen Houdis. The poor lady has disappeared from the radar since then, but she was very adamant and had discovered some very interesting things. And perhaps we can just play that to show who's behind the financial system and therefore also behind the digital ID. Now, interesting. This digital ID, is it purely political, or are the oligarchs involved?
Well,
Isn't it the Bill Gateses and all the high-tech people like Elon Musk, etc., are involved in this?
Yeah. No, the merchants are involved in it. The political sphere is involved in it.
All right, so let's have a look at this one, just as a reminder of some past history.
Now, here's an interview which is rather fascinating. And this interview, if we can have the sound up in a moment, this interview is with a whistleblower. Now, whistleblowers are causing quite a bit of trouble for the current regimes, and this is no ordinary whistleblower. This was one of the advisory lawyers in the International Monetary Fund. This is one of the whistleblowers who blew the whistle on multi-billion frauds. And eventually, for her whistleblowing, she got a pink slip. But let's listen to what this person, with her insight within the financial systems of the world, has come up with in her thinking.
Hello, I'm Greg Hunter. Welcome to USAWatchdog.com. With us today, a brand new guest. Her name is Karen Houdis. She is an attorney, she is a banker, and she is a whistleblower. Karen Houdis, thank you so much for joining us today from Maryland. Thank you so much. Well, you work for the World Bank for a better part of 20 years. You are an Ivy League trained attorney. You went to Ivy League school. I think you went to Yale. You work for the World Bank as a lawyer. You're a banker, and you were a whistleblower inside the World Bank, not just one time, but several times. It crescendoed with a big, almost $1 billion, whistleblowing fraud, malfeasance in the World Bank in Indonesia. And for that, you got a pink slip in 2009.
Getting back to the Federal Reserve and the Bank for International Settlements, these groups are in cahoots with the biggest crooks of all, the Jesuits that bought up Bank of America, and they have little secret deals to try to apportion the riches of the world. And in the meantime, all of the countries of the world know that this thievery is going on. We are talking about the biggest thuggery of all, and that is the Jesuits in the Vatican. And let me tell you what I just found out. I always thought that the CIA was the problem and the other intelligence agencies. Guess what? There's a grand intelligence agency that the Vatican puts out, and all of those other crooks are operating under the Vatican intelligence agency.
The money
That's
is
what's
about
going on.
The money is about the control, and the Vatican intelligence agency, the World Intelligence Agency. They're talking about we're fighting over money, over what money we're going to use.
No,
and who controls the money.
thing I'm saying, Greg. They're not fighting. They've all agreed. The fighting is what we're led to believe. They're all in cahoots, just like all the banks are in cahoots. All of these intelligence agencies are in cahoots, too. For example, people don't know that their IRS revenue is going to the Vatican.
Martin, I don't know, should I laugh or should I cry?
I think, you're not laughing because it's funny. You're laughing because, wow.
It's so true.
It's so true. It fits so in and nothing's changed. You've been saying this since then. That she's been saying it. Nothing's changed, and now you can actually see this.
All right, so who's behind it?
The Jesuits.
The Jesuits. Now, what are the Jesuits? Well, we'll put up a slide just now and have the Vatican answer what the
Exactly.
Jesuits are and who they are and what their purpose is. So that the Vatican says it and not we, because then we will be conspiracy theorists again to some of these deceived individuals that don't see a conspiracy behind the scenes. All right, so let's have a look at all of these intelligence agencies, whether they be CIA or whether they be FBI or whether they be MI6 or whether they be KGB or whether they be Mossad or whatever you want to call them. They're all plugged in.
To the main
Power source, this umbrella mega intelligence agency. The Sancta Alliance is just a portion of it. It's secret assassination police.